Now let's begin this beautiful day with panel discussion number 1. And the topic would be AI and data powering today's CX hyper-personalization. First, the moderator for this panel discussion number 1, Mr. Vikram Berry. Mr. Vikram Berry, Senior Regional Director Operations from South Asia Radisson Hotel Group. Sir, I welcome you. Thank you. And now, one by one, I'll be taking the name of our respectful panelists. Number 1 is Mr. Anupam Munshi, the Vice President from Customer Services IndiaMART. Number 2nd, Mr. Nitesh Ajmera, General Manager from CX, CRM and Partnerships Campus, Activewear. Mr. Madhav Sharma, Head from Tech and Digital Transformation, Libas. Mr. Ratnesh Srivastav, the Head from Global Loyalty Analytics, MasterCard. And the last but not the least, Mr. Padam Prakash, General Manager from Strategic Partnership, Paytm. So we welcome these intelligent people, these brilliant and creative minds. Can we have a huge round of applause once again for our panelists and our moderator? The topic would be AI and data powering today's CX hyper-personalization. I request you to take over, sir. And the session is about to begin, panel number 1. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a tough one to start as the first panel because some of us have had our chai, some of us have had our coffee, but still not 100% awake with boss calling to tell you that your tasks for the day are pending. But I must share this with you as a hotelier. I'm happy that I'm not in my hotel today or in my office, and I'm here with these very intellectual panel members. Really, today's topic is to discuss with all of you about AI and hyper-personalization. But before we get into this discussion, I think AI, a lot has been said and a lot has been understood and interpreted in different ways. In some conversations, AI is the devil. In some conversations, AI is the hero. And especially for a lot of conservative people, AI tends to become a very scary topic to talk about because we all feel, oh my God, where are we going with AI? Ab kya? What next? So I think today's conversation is really going to be built about and around the fact of AI personalization and also about how AI really can be an enabler and not really a replacement. So without waiting any further and starting this conversation, I'd like to open up the conversation to Madhav. Let's start with you very first. Madhav, as AI takes on more personalization engine, how do you decide what still needs a human touch? And where do you draw the line between AI-led and human-led CX? We'd also love to know, how did you build this customer experience journey into your system?
Thank you, Vikram, for starting with me. Thank you, guys. Good morning to everyone. So, see, when we talk about the personalization, so personalization is the upper layer. Always been a upper layer. And there are three factors in terms of personalization and AI, right? The first is the totally AI-led. Second one is AI assisted. And third one is the human-led, right? So coming to, since I'm from retail and D2C, so I would talk in that language only,
Please.
right? So coming from the D2C brand and retail brand, so personalization is all the recommendations and you can say messages, campaigns, and the marketing stuff that has to be AI led, right? Second one is the AI assisted. AI assisted is the call center. I mean, where see, consumer is not the robot. He is also human. He has feelings. I mean, he make himself angry. He frustrated sometimes, right? So when it comes to the call center, when it comes to the in-house CRM team, so it should be AI assisted, right? AI should be assist them. The first level AI level layer would be there. The second layer human would be there to handle the consumer. Third one is the complete human led. I mean, we should not give that command, that control to the AI. That is the financial approval and the final any sale proposals, financial approvals, and you can say decision making, right? That should be in the human hand. So out of it, I mean, I would say governance should be man controlled, right? It is assisted by the AI and with a human.
That's very well said. So, from a retail perspective, I think it's beautifully put in three different levels, ladies and gentlemen, where one level is AI led, second level is AI assisted, and third level, which I love to hear always, is human led. So, I think that's a beautiful way of putting it. But I'm going to take on one of the things that you said over there with regards to call center where it's more assisted. And I'd love to have this conversation with Nitesh and Anupam really. And we'll start with you, Nitesh, first and then move to Anupam. Where is AI making the biggest difference in sales and back office call center operations today? And I want to expand on that question for the benefit of this audience. As AI takes over people, and tasks that people used to do, how are you thinking about reskilling and securing the future of these employees? Because at the end of the day, we are a fast growing economy with an even faster growing population. So while we do have enablers, how are you managing this balance? And really, how are you reskilling and also managing operations back office today?
All right. Thanks. Audible?
I think you need to be a little louder. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some seats in front. So if the panel is not audible, please feel free to move a little forward.
All right.
Please.
So I think, this is the field in which everyone see the heaviest deployment of AI, be it sales.
Can you all hear him? Is he?
Can you all hear me?
Can we have the mic volume louder, please?
All right. Is that better now? Okay. I think, this is the segment, this is the part of business where you'll see most of the deployments of AI, be it sales, or be it the service operations. And when I say service operations, it's the back-end service operations, which where the deployment happens at the contact center. So when it comes to the sales, you need to build a lot many journeys. The journey helps you to understand the consumer behavior, and it helps you to improvise the business. But in that journey also, you need to actually get into and understand if that is going into the correct direction or not, how the analytics are delivering the results, if the correct channel is being used or not. AI can only assist us. When you talk about the backend operations, AI helps a lot into knowledge management, because in the contact centers, who works is the executives who are into the very initial stages of their career. And if you provide them with the correct information on a click of button, or maybe with a minimal search, it helps a lot. The customer feels that somebody talking from the brand has a lot of knowledge about the brands. It also helps us to keep the SOPs intact. So if as an executive, so I will share an instance. When I answered first call of my career, I disconnected that call because that time I was clueless what to answer. That cannot happen now. The agent can see everything in the screen. Agent can see, if consumer is asking anything related to the brand, he can actually search there, and The assisted, conversations can also help agent to let what needs to tell consumer without even searching on the screen. So if my agent is talking to a consumer or maybe answering the call, AI will prompt, you need to inform this to the consumer. Plus the most of the benefit that I see is into the audits. Earlier, it is very difficult to audit the 100% conversations at any touch point with the consumers. So now with AI it becomes so easy. You can do 100% conversation audits, which helps you to understand the training need, and it helps you to reshape, restructure your contact center operations, your service operations in a better way.
So it's very interesting because today call centers have really restructured and reframed the entire workspace module. India becoming one of the largest outsourcing markets in the world today. From what I'm hearing from you is what AI does is support and make that individual more effective and make that individual more relevant. We all hate that machine that comes onto the phone when you call a call center says, "आप कतार में हैं, कृपया इंतजार करें." It's not the most exciting thing to hear. And then by the time you get to that human individual, you are ready to scream and let all your temper come out, which is really not the best thing. But from what I'm hearing from you is that is where AI is going to step in to make it more real and make it more effective by the time it gets to the human. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And make it more relevant for that matter.
Absolutely.
Anupam, we'd love to know your point of view also from IndiaMART point of view.
So good morning, everyone. Thanks, Nitesh, for starting it. So I think AI is adding 3 layers in our life. One is prioritization, second is automation, and third is augmentation. So Nitesh has covered already into the customer ops. I will try to cover the real implementation which is happening across. So in IndiaMART, we at a sales level, the sales processes have now been part of it. A lot of AI is in play. The sales is now there with all the pre-sales activities are now with the AI with. So AI looks for the TAM of the market. Second, they do the marketing itself. And third, they figure out the intent generation of
Sorry, I'm going to ask you to expand a little bit more on that. So when you say pre-sale, I would love to know a little more an example and some real-time examples for our guests here to understand what really relevant in a floor level pre-sale would.
So earlier as field sales executive, the journey is to screen all his data, figure out the calls, try to calls, fix an appointment, then try to be the repo building, and then looks for the closure. So the first three, which I say the administrative work in the sales journey, the identification of the customer, the intent generation, and then the communication, it has now been taken by the AI.
Lovely.
And the sales guy is now enabled and left with only two things. He has to just do the repo building and then do the closure. So I think AI is going to enable people a lot if implemented correctly. The workforce will have to be redesigned. It has to be reskilled. Reskilled around AI, reskilled around analytics, reskilled around customer interactions. And I think the changes which are happening around will make technology to take away the repetitive assignments, and people will start doing more smarter jobs, more relevant jobs around.
No, this is a lovely point that you brought onto the table. For the benefit of this audience, I've been a salesman for 25 years in the hotel industry. And I know for a fact to come into the office in the morning and scan through data to figure out आज किसके पास sales call करने जानी है क्योंकि target पूरे नहीं हो रहे is a bit of a challenge in the morning. So if that becomes the case, an example, then that's a fantastic enabler. And it brings me back to the point that we discussed with Madhav also earlier, that AI really helps you be more effective and more efficient rather than looking at AI as a threat. So I'm going to move my next question to Ratnesh at this point of time. Ratnesh, at some point, how is AI being integrated into the finance and banking sector today to drive hyper-personalization? Because your industry really is all about personalization with the kind of competition that we've come into. How are you making the most of this?
So before getting into how AI is enabling banking or finance, another thing we need to understand, banking and finance itself is transitioning from pure banking and finance to include commerce business, right? Now, if you combine the two, the number one thing I would suggest is whenever it comes to commerce with banking, it is always about what are you going to offer. For example, today we have a lot of data that how many times you have dined out in last 1 month.
Oh my God, that's scary.
uh,
But share the data. I'm sure some of
So, and
some of the
if-
men in this room would want to share it with their wives, or their girlfriends or partners. How many times you've dined out?
Yeah, so and it's public information. I'm not telling anything news. And if as a banker or a platform provider, you know that somebody's budget has gone up by 30% because of dining out in last 3 months, you can always come back with an offer. Hey, we have few dining out offers with 30% cash back. So that's just an example of a good offer you can get. So I think that is the space where a lot of AI application is happening. So in fact, I would call it what was called part of it was called machine learning and engineering science transition, like amalgamated with AI is yielding a lot greater results. That's number one thing. Second thing, if you look at, if you want to be personalized, you have to be knowing what customer wants, and that's what is propensity. If somebody knows that I'm going to be here today, probably they can tell me better things what should I do around this area than somebody who doesn't know it. So knowing the propensity of the consumer, what are they liking to do, or what are they are about to do. So that's second aspect. And third, and I think the biggest aspect, I think when it comes to money, cyber crime, fraud, all these things, like billions of dollars are getting lost by consumers. So that's the third area. So if you ask me, like every bit and pieces of banking and finance is being touched by AI. But if I categorize as these are the three broader areas. And you will see that if I have to go by like the kind of impact it is generating, it is not only about process efficiency, it is also about top line and bottom line. So it is adding a lot of value on both sides. And that's why means if I just look at last 2-3 years, a lot of solutions which were very very rudimentary. If you I don't know how many of you as a consumer, when you interact with any bank site, how often you observe what has changed. But because we are into the business, we generally tend to see what has changed, and things have really changed a lot. 3 years ago, if you forgot your password, it will take 10 minutes for you to retrieve it. Today, you have 5 ways to log in. So those are the kind of things. So I think when I bring AI and banking finance together, this becomes one of the most fascinating area to walk into. I think only after maybe rocket science.
No, I think you're very right. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you will agree with me on this as well. Today, banking has become so much more personal. It is so much more relevant when you go to take a credit card or you go to take a discount card. It definitely, the level of information that they have in terms of our customer behavior helps us be more relevant to the choice we make today. We have you from MasterCard, Ratnesh, and we have Padam from Paytm, two of the highest customer-facing platforms in the country today. Padam, we'd love to know your views on the same point over here, that how are you being able to merge this into driving hyper-personalization? Paytm, come on, we all know where that has gone and where it started.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So just to carry on the point that you have taken up, on the part where a person, losing out on his password by not using a net banking or something like that. So there are multiple ways, and the recent things that have come up are biometrics and AI-driven approaches. So these are one of the aspects, but certainly bank and fintechs are one of the biggest data repository at present, because India being a customer-centric place with such a huge population, I believe these data were not channelized earlier, and AI is certainly helping banks and fintechs to channelize these data, right? So there are multiple channels to how to get to reach to a customer. So there is WhatsApp, there is SMS, there is email, there are n number of things. But streamlining this with the help of an AI layer is certainly helping in the growth story. And then you can get on to the part where you can define your profitability alongside it. So that totally combines and helps you to have a productive discussion all around, and increase your cross sell, upsell, and I believe there is a longer way to go around it, and there's a huge vision which can construct and build through AI. That is what I believe is the future vision, and how AI can help in the overall course of things.
So you think that AI will then at some point of time help us be more probably focused in the choices we make? Is that what you're trying to say?
Certainly, certainly. So fintechs have all the data that, like, what kind of spends are you making, what kinds of touch points for, like, a WhatsApp message would make it more convincing for you, or an email or an SMS, and then that pattern is conclusive evidence that how should we reach out to a particular customer, what are customer behaviors, and that is how the spends accordingly we can thrive it for the merchants. Right.
Great, you're saying that. So I'm going to go back to Ratnesh for a quick one. Sorry, gentlemen. This is an interesting conversation because both of you have said one thing. You track customer behavior, you hyper-personalize customer behavior, and then you work around it. At what point does that information flow from the system, from AI, to the individual? Because, ladies and gentlemen, it brings me back to my point again. AI here is an enabler. It's not necessarily that individual's replacement. So at what point do you allow that to flow to that individual?
So in a very layman language, if you look at any hyper-personalization, that requires last mile delivery, if we can call it.
Correct, correct.
And see, last mile delivery has three aspects which has to be taken care by humans. One is that personal touch, and he's a big fan of personal touch. Nobody can replace that. Second is ambiguity. Whenever you interact with a human, how that same person is going to react with the same information I give you, you never can guess.
Correct.
So now, depending on the reaction, your response also needs to get modulated. So that's the second thing. And third is complexity and scale. So these are the three things, and and this is what make me believe that no matter how hard AI tries, and maybe some of the best robots we create, ultimately that robot will work as, if I can call it, maybe one of the supporting staff.
Well, yes, if that could be a word for it as well.
What AI will tell me that your dining budget has gone up by 30%. But then I have to communicate to you in a nice way to tell you your budget has gone up. I'm helping you bring it down. Are you interested?
That's a lovely way of putting it. And I think that's a fantastic way of customizing and hyper-personalization, that message as well.
Correct.
Padam, I'm going to move to you also, because we did talk about the fintech industry when we were talking to you. And we talked about the fact that fintech industry is definitely making the most of it. So how is AI shaping the fintech industry right now? And looking ahead, what would fintech look like with or without AI?
Sure. So definitely this is a very to the point question. I believe there are seasoned players in the market like Flipkarts and Amazons of the world. And to the likes of it, we have multiple D2C brands, emerging every day in the market, whom we are catering to. As a fintech player, we have more than 45 million plus merchants, whom we cater to. And of lately, we have seen the behavior change, wherein D2C has been an upcoming trend and people are investing in it. And in D2C, scale is of great importance. They need to, show their profitability, and AI is something which has helped them in assisting through getting into their profitability vision. Now, how are we helping in AI is something like, this could be related to a dashboard. This could be a drop journey, because the customer behavior and trends have been changing in the recent times, where the peak sale moment is not in days, but in hours. So that is something which is defining the key sales strength. And since we have the data repository, we have the patterns of the customer, we help in building the structure for the customer where we given nuances of current trends, what is happening in the day through the minutes and seconds, and that is how we are helping them generate business through the data. And AI is the model which is surely helping them in getting this driven.
I think that fundamentally drives the point again that how effectively we use AI is really up to us, and how effective we actually make AI on the shop floor is up to us. But it all eventually comes down to the larger population here, which is also the consumer, to make our life as consumers more relevant and our choices more relevant at this point of time.
So few more points to add on to that, how fintech is shaping AI. So first of all, compliance. Since we are into the online space, compliance is of great importance, and there is a set structure to compliance. There is a static rules which are set in the dashboard. With the help of AI, we are able to get to the next level, wherein the modeling, ML modeling, and the risk monitoring tools, they are all coming to pick place, wherein they can identify new threats that are in the system. So this helps us curb the frauds as well. So that is one aspect. Again, one point greatly said by one of our peers. Audits that have been recently made more easier. This was a time-consuming activity. AI can summarize the whole scenario and make it more simpler for us to go through it and predict the upcoming things which are going to help the industry as an overall ecosystem perspective. So these are few of the things, plus dashboard. I believe as a merchant, if I were to be into their shoes, a dashboard which you could give me a good prompt and would help me, automate the data. So AI on a day-to-day use is automating everything for everyone. What kind of inputs you are giving is something which is of very much relevance, but with respect to fintechs, how we are catering to such customers is we are getting this automated automation done on the dashboard, which is helping them on a day-to-day basis. Right.
No, I think that's fantastic. And if I'm going to pick up that one word that you used somewhere, there isn't compliance. I think when you say compliance, it becomes, in today's time and age, especially in the digital age that we are in, compliance becomes of extreme importance. So thereby it reduces the human error, chance at this point of time by adopting, again, the right kind of tools and the right kind of support system. So with that thought process, because with human error comes a cost. A cost of rectifying, a cost of mitigating, and a cost of realigning and coming back on track. So I'm going to throw this question at Madhav and Ratnesh. And Madhav, let's start with you. When building the business case for AI-driven personalization, what does ROI really look like in practice? Because at the end of the day, everything has to have a return on investment. And what is that ROI and what does it really look like? Because we are reducing the human risk element. Thereby, of course, there is a cost saving in terms of rectifying that. But in general practice, we'd love to know from you. Madhav, let's start with you.
So ROI is the most important thing, which we can talk about. So, there's a misconception that the sale value, business value is the only ROI, right? There are so many factors which impact the ROI other than sale value as well. So there are 4 or 5 factors. So first one is obviously the business value, but the quality business value. What is the quality of business value? What is the margin, right? And in business value, there are sub segments are there, right? What are the upsells, cross sells? What kind of conversion rate we are increasing, right? And whether we are able to reduce the discounting, right, for selling. Second one is the operation efficiency, most important. That how efficiently we are using AI to increase our operation efficiency. Operation efficiency, all the retention part, whether we are able to depends on autonomous campaigns, CRMs. How much time it is being reduced and how it is helping our frontline team, right? And the third one is the major one, So major one is the time. I mean, how much time we are saving, and what kind of the decision making. How fast we took the decision that decide where we would go in next 2 years. That is the most important, right? So I believe the three things should consider as your ROI, and how much we are investing. What are the business value, quality business value, operation efficiency, customer experience, whether we are able to give the repeat purchases and all, right? The retention part, and the amount we are investing.
That's nice to know from a retail perspective. Would you like to expand on that a little bit,
Yeah.
Nitesh?
So again, I'll connect to your first question. So if any business you look at, and ROI formula pretty much for all of us is very similar. Three sources of growth, like new customer, cross-sell, and loyalty, which is retention. I think I've already spoken, like, and you were saying, like, today you walk in the office and you have to make 10 calls to bring one new customer. If AI can help you make just 5 calls to bring one new customers, your growth is faster.
Absolutely. I think that's the point that I have kind of picked up from the conversation so far.
Yeah.
Is fundamentally to make it to make me as an individual more effective. But what we are trying to understand here is the return on this investment, because everything comes at a cost, and like
Correct.
you said, ROI has to be measurable, right?
Correct.
So what I picked up from here from a retail point of view is your repeat customer, your ability to upsell, your ability and that upsell amount. So that helps you kind of connect in a retail format your ROI. However, in your case, it's a little different. In your case, it may not necessarily be a customer acquisition. It could probably be a lot more or a lot less. I don't know. So how are you kind of building that into your ROI module?
Yeah. So in fact, let me be very clear. For us, it is all the three. So bringing new customer, because we are able to target the new customers well with the help of AI, that's going to increase, and it is increasing. In fact, not to like, I don't have the industry number because not everybody shares their number, but you can easily assume that 10 to 20% gain in your typical response rate, if I can call it. Coming back to the repeat rate or cross-sell rate, because now you understand the customer need better. And you can reach out to customer faster, because think of a situation in a man calling example, you can make maybe 200 calls a day, out of which 20 will get picked up or maybe 30 will get picked up. Now what you can do, actually you can make 500 calls through machine and human calls only to those 30 people who actually needed the product. So that's how the economics working. And then loyalty, I think this again my commerce and offers example comes. Like that is the area where you are going to gain most if you can execute the human plus AI model really well, because AI will tell you what this person needs, and then you have to make that person feel what they need. Now, think of a situation, everything you are getting on the top line is naturally coming with a cost efficiency at the bottom line, because at every aspect of the top line business, you are probably need to invest less on human, more on machine. One thing, let's all be clear, machines are not cheaper than human. In fact,
that I can, yeah. I mean, I think we humans are far more
and
affordable.
So that labor cost is still our biggest advantage, one of the biggest. If
that protects my job for the time being. But
no,
thank you.
and it protects everybody's job. And I think one thing which I always like to add, I personally, and Vikram has said that let's not get into too much personal, but I'm still crossing the line. AI, I find, is a very good, nice work-life balance tool, because a lot of day-to-days operation-heavy activities we all have to do, and especially the people who are in the leadership roles. I can tell you, you can reduce your workload by 30% or so by using some of the basic tools available in AI. So, and see, when a management person gets 30% efficiency of time, that's a multiplier effect on the ROI, because then you are doing, let's say, if you're not balancing the life fully, even 50% of that goes into thought. It comes up with new projects, new ideas, new businesses. So that's how I see the holistic ROI. And sorry for crossing the
No,
line.
that's absolutely fine. I love the fact that he's talking work-life balance with a hotelier. We don't know. I think that's just wrong English as far as we are concerned as hoteliers. Work-life balance is music to my ears. And if I was able to spare 30% of my time because of AI efficiencies, my boss will find 50% more work to give me. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a thin line we all cross. But keeping that thought process in place, I'm going to move now because we have AI as one solution. But we have multiple users here. We have a very varied panel here, ladies and gentlemen, from finance, fintech, banking, retail. I'm going to throw this question to Anupam and Padam really at this point of time from two very varied backgrounds. How do you customize or fine-tune AI to the specific requirements of your industry rather than using one application that fits all? Because the need is very different, the ask is very different. The response needs to be very different because obviously the base question is different. So how do you manage that, both of you? So Anupam, let's start with you, and then Padam, we'll move to your thoughts on this.
So AI model can be generic, but the context has to be very specific towards your customer, towards your business. For me, whenever we start any AI transformation in our organization, we look for three core understandings. One is our customer, second is our business, and third is what AI is going to solve. For a marketplace like us, IndiaMART, where a buyer comes for price discovery, product discovery, or a supplier discovery.
Correct.
On the other side, the seller is looking for higher visibility, business growth, and conversion.
True.
So AI has to understand the behavior, the clock of the process, and the business nuances. So that's make a very interesting use case of AI for us. So when I see a model, I look for how much intelligence I can build upon. Intelligence comes from my prop data. My prop data are like my customer interactions, my searches happenings on my platform, my customer care executives, what they have interacted with us. And based on intelligence, I put it in the workflow. And that gives the real relevance to the customer.
So you basically also then in that case, I'm just paraphrasing for the benefit of all of us, you identify where you want to plug in AI then,
Yes, that's for sure.
as to bringing in the efficiency. So there again is your subject matter expertise that comes in as an individual, as a human, to optimize that service with additional help. Is that correct?
Yes. So we focus on AI to use only to solve the repetitive assignment. And we keep the human touch where there is a solution requires empathy or a difficult problem solving with a customer. At that pace, we still keep the human touch over there.
And that also, at the end of the day, is for the benefit of the customer, ladies and gentlemen, because then that interaction becomes so much more relevant at some
it
point
becomes
of time.
more intelligent.
Padam, we'll move to you.
Yeah. So I would like to highlight on two key points. How can AI fine-tune things on the merchant side and the customer side of the journey? So what is the upcoming thing that we are aiming at is merchant lending, okay, and customer lending. Since we are a consumer app and a merchant-facing application as well, processing. So we understand the customer behavior and trend, again coming to the same point. Earlier in the extant historic stages, we used to depend on the credit scores of an individual to assess what kind of loans can be processed to this person. Right now, it can be customized to the tune of, that daily requirement or a monthly requirement. For example, you want to book a hotel and you need a pay later option or an EMI option. We can customize it according to their needs, and that is where we are plugging AI, which is helping the merchants. For example, in this case, let's say Radisson wants to, scale up their business in the peak season time. We have a base of customers what kind of card spends are they doing, which bank are they using. We can accordingly, construct a program wherein the spends increase during the festive season or the sale season and the bookings increase. So that is one part to it. Again, a merchant coming to me, a D2C brand, they need the settlement on the same day. Okay, therein we can plug in AI, wherein this whole thing which is being done manually, a person reaching out to a person, spending some time illustrating their requirements, wherein AI comes into picture, they upfront give you that answer to these questions, wherein you already have that amount applicable, and you can apply for that at any given point of time, and you can use it. So that becomes easy for the business as well as for the consumer. Second part is on to the advertisement part. Paytm ads, like we are one of the largest ad space in the market, wherein a merchant wants to utilize our consumer application space for their advertisement purposes. Since I am aware of the customer behavior, I can fine tune it to the likes of wherein a merchant using Swiggy will get ads specific to Swiggy, like, and Zomato would be the second option. So we can address it to that point wherein we can utilize the AI part, and we can it can be different for person to person. A person might be seeing Swiggy first, someone would be seeing Flipkart first. So that is how you are fine tuning it to for consumer specific requirements and merchant specific requirements.
I think that's fantastic because what it's really doing at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it's not only hyper personalizing what I want to see and what my requirement is, but it's also helping me make that more informed decision. But I think it's also linking into what I was discussing with the gentleman here on ROI, because it also helps in pushing sales. It also helps in closing that last mile conversation. And it also allows us as customers to believe that what is being shared with us is our own behavior vis-a-vis somebody's interpretation of what they think we need, which was a huge gap earlier, because we all know earlier we would call up for one reason and the customer executive would give us a solution for another problem. So that of course seems to be reducing, and AI seems to be doing a good job. Before I move this conversation to the audiences, and we would love to hear some questions from the audience here as well, because we have a varied set of panelists here from banking, fintech, retail, to address any questions or to, make some statements or experience. I will throw my last question to Ratnesh. Do you see AI taking over voice in call center operations? And how do you plan to mitigate the risk of losing empathy and the human touch from the last point of from a human point of view?
So my personal point
and this will we will throw this to Nitesh and Ratnesh both, because both of you have that ability. There is that last mile, but there's also a lot of efficiencies that need to be brought into the system.
Yeah. So my personal experience and point of view till date is nothing will get completely replaced by AI. AI is always, at least from today, whatever future we can see, it will be greatest enabler. A person who can use AI nicely will be a much more efficient, productive, and growing person versus a person who cannot do it. There were a lot of mechanical, boring, operational work which we had to do in our past because there was no such support available. Now that will reduce. That's how I see. So in fact, I feel very excited about a lot of things getting eliminated from a call center people job, then a lot of operations job. If you just think, let me give you an example. A lot of audit happens in banks especially, or in the payment industry. Rules and regulations are set, they are documented really nicely. An analyst, audit analyst, had to read the entire thing every time to complete the audit. Technically, that can be, so you just upload the rules and regulations, you upload the document, ask AI to just point out wherever they see any points, doubts, anomaly. I'm not saying that now analyst does not have to see, but probably they can do that entire thing much faster because they now know that maybe what happens in every document, 70% things are written like generic standard content. There only 30% is the real content. Now you can focus more on that 30% and avoid maybe 60% or spend less time at 60%.
Fantastic. I'm going to take that up because that means it's faster conflict resolution.
Yes.
So in terms of any conflict, any guest complaint, any anomaly, the resolution is faster vis-a-vis, अरे ये तो अभी 10 साल लग जाएंगे इसका revert आने में. Am I on the right
100%.
page?
And here again, I want to repeat, I'm not saying that human will not have to work. Because see, if I'm writing an email from my mailbox and sending it to my leader, partner, stakeholder, I cannot say that, oh, it was sent by AI, so I don't own.
No, that's of course. I wish we could say that. But
so, so as long as you are using in that direction, this is a fun time for a lot of people who really want to embrace this change. And if anyone, maybe some of you would have been part of the transition from the paperwork to computer work.
Yes.
I have not been part of that transition, but because I'm a history student, so I have read the history of technology as well. I consider this AI transition as two transitions in history. One, when there was no printed books. So think of a situation, all the knowledge existed in some guru's head and they were making the students learn. Okay? Suddenly book came, सारे टीचर्स को लगा होगा कि यार अब तो हमारा काम गया. नॉलेज सारा बुक में है, कोई नहीं पढ़ता, सबको गुरु की जरूरत है. सेम सिमिलर थिंग वुड हैव हैपेंड इफ व्हेन द कंप्यूटर केम. पीपल थॉट अब तो सारा काम कंप्यूटर करेगा, हमारा जॉब गया. But fact is, most of the people in this room are in job because there was a computer which got introduced. Trust me, maybe 10 years down the line, similar thing will happen about AI, because with every technology change, you want to do more.
I like that thought. Let's take that to Nitesh.
All right. I think, we are with AI, we are building capacity, and we are just adding a layer of intelligence and reducing the, heavy lifting kind of work. So if I need to share OTP with the consumer, an AI call can do that. If I need to share order status with the consumer, and AI call can do that, right? But there are certain calls which AI cannot do. It needs a human intervention for sure. Assisting a human, AI can, lead that. It's okay. The handover should happen in a way that human should not feel that I was talking to AI and the person now I'm talking to has no relevance, no idea what I was talking to AI. So I don't think AI can, replace the human at all. It is just a layer of intelligence helping us to build efficiency and capacity in handling the customer interactions and, improving the business. That's it.
That's a fantastic thought. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for this panel. And also, as a closing thought, we all know change is the only constant. We as humans change, our requirements change, our needs change, and the way we respond to things change. So AI will also change, will also have to keep changing. And what AI does for us is just allows us to be more accepting and make that change more easy. So with that thought, I am going to open the floor. Can we have somebody with the mics on the floor, please? In case there's any guest who would like to ask some questions, just a moment. Can we get a runner on the floor? There are mics here. A risen hand is really reassuring to a moderator because that means you were listening. Thank you. Please, sir.
Hi, my name is Sahil.
We would request you to first introduce yourself to the audience and then throw the question here, sir.
Hi, my name is Sahil. I take care of D2C for Campus Activewear Limited.
Sir.
My question is to the entire panel. With DPDP stepping in, how would the hyper-personalization shape? Because it is going to make a very big impact on the digital cookie ecosystem, which we are currently operating on. So how is it going to make an impact on the hyper-personalization journeys? And how is it going to help us build better agents, AI agents, which can deliver that hyper-personalization via intelligence built on past information without linking it to the first-party data?
I see you nodding. So would you like to pick that question up?
Yeah. So, everything has to be regulated and in control. And that's why this regulatory things come in any space. Now, you have to think of, we are talking about consumer experience. Consumer experience is function of how much are you willing to share for the experience. So ultimately, where it will come down to, so there is a segment of people who are very conservative about their personal information privacy. Probably they think those informations are that valuable that they should not be shared. Probably you can think of, and I don't know what would be the size of that segment, but just remove that segment. Rest of the people, and especially what we call Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and maybe the our generation too, maybe we are not that particular about our privacy. And what will happen today, a lot of times our information is getting shared without us knowing, and people are using it. We keep getting calls. I don't know how many times we have shared the numbers with them where we get the calls. So that kind of regulation is required, and that's where it is going to be more efficient. So I think two things. Consumer experience is going to be better because information, even if you somehow got access to, you cannot use it for just random calls or any such experience. So our life will get better. Second thing, we will be part of a controlled ecosystem, which will protect us against any unreversible disaster. So not only DPDP, any other regulation, if you look at, I gave a very generic answer because I know regulation is one of the biggest concern when it comes to all these things. And my dealing with regulation is always, see, ultimately all the regulators are there to protect us. And no banks, no organization can survive without us being protected. So ultimately, it is a complementary relationship. So that's the context. In short term, yes, we are getting a lot of data. We'll stop getting some of that. In some of those cases, we will not be able to use it. For example, this hyper-personalization term itself now is going to be regulated. So I think in many cases, you will not be able to do it. And that's fair. See, as long as I don't know you, but I know there's a, let's say, a unique ID number XYZ who's demonstrating this behavior. And based on this behavior, that XYZ needs to be treated this way. And actually, this is a good thing that I don't know that XYZ is Vikram.
I think
You would want to add something?
Just to add whatever
Nitesh, please.
captured. We need to know where we should stop using AI in the current environment where we are exposing AI to our internal database, the PI information of the consumer. Plus, I think it is just an extension of I agree to terms and condition. These will be little more, in detail, and every consumer would be knowing what brands are doing with their data, what banks are doing with their data, or maybe I would be knowing what are the points from where my data could leak. So I think that's a good initiative. And as an individual, we will be getting lesser unwanted calls. And that's a good shape up, I think, that
I
we
think
need.
that's right. I think to put it in a layman's word, it brings a little method to the madness, and it allows and draws very clear boundaries of personal space. And I think that in today's time and age, in the meta age, really is a jargon for a lot of people when we say personal space. We had one more question. Can we get it to the lady, and then, sir, we'll get to you, please.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. My name is Aarti, and I am AGM, CRM, and Loyalty from Captions. Captions is North India's #1 retailer since last 37 years. So my question is, what do you think that companies make a commonly mistake when they are trying to become AI-driven? What is the one mistake they are trying to do?
So if I'm reading your question correctly, for the benefit of the panel, what is the biggest mistake that companies are doing when they are creating AI agents?
Yes. No, they are trying to become an AI-driven company in terms of customer service.
They are trying to, sorry?
They are trying to become an AI-driven company.
Okay, so basically, what you're saying, what is the biggest mistake we do when we are trying to become an AI-driven company, and we are trying to go through that transition by simply being AI-led to your first point, the first bucket that we put ourselves into. Would you like to start with that, please, Anupam?
So I'll take this as a very different thought on that. There is a very fine line between the uses of AI and where to stop. So if I say the current need of AI in our customer journey it has to stop till the moment you personalize it. The decision making has to be still a human empathy around. So we need to stop creating agent which is bombarding the customer, which is creating actually nuisances in life. So AI has to understand what, when, and how. So that's the take on from my side on.
So can I just take a little snippet from all five of you and answer to the lady's question, and specifically from what he started with at the onset? I think it is so imperative for any entrepreneur to first identify whether his organization is AI-led, AI-supported, or human-led. And the mistake starts at that point when, and please correct me, gentlemen, I think the mistake starts at that point where you know you are AI supported, but you want to be AI led. And that's, I think, a very important first step that honestly, Ratnesh really brought onto the table at this point of time to say, identify your business model before wanting to go to the next step. Please, would you agree with me on this?
It's not one fit for all, to be very honest.
Perfect. Can we go to the gentleman who's been waiting to have a question here, please? For paucity of time, we're at the last 5 minutes. So we'll probably after this be able to take just one more question.
Yeah, hi. I am Yash Agarwal, a business head from Kensta brand, which is into consumer durables. Firstly, thank you everyone for the valuable insights, very helpful. So my question is, in today's world, a consumer may see the product online, visit a store offline for physical fit, feel, finish, connect with WhatsApp for queries, and finally, eventually buy the product from some different channel altogether. So as AI helps in product discovery and recommendations, how do you see the role of a physical salesperson evolving and changing in this era of omnichannel presence? Thank you.
Yes. So, good question. So, I mean, that is most important. So now, see, consumer behavior has been changed significantly. Now, I mean, if you don't have the 360-degree omni-channel view, then definitely you are going to lose the business. Now, I'm from Libas, right? So when you go to any of the Libas store, so the salesperson would welcome you, and you would see the tab in that person hand, right? He is having one tool in that particular tab. He have your info. If you are coming first time, then okay. If you have purchased online as well, and you are in the Libas ecosystem, so he would have he can search the your data, right? Now you purchase something 3-4 times earlier, so he have the purchase history. Based on that, he would recommend you. So now this recommendation engine, we are using AI, right? But the human led, correct? Now, for example, we call it omni-channel and decile. Two things are there, right? So endless aisle is store to store, and omni-channel is my complete inventory is exposed any of my ecosystem. At stores, there is 5,000 inventory, right? But they can sell 20 lakh inventory in a day if they want, if customer is there. All the warehouse, all the other dark stores inventory is exposed there. So most important is, if you would like to serve the consumers, then you have to expose the inventory. Inventory visibility is the most important thing. If you don't have the visibility, then definitely AI is not going to help you. Right now, coming to that part, WhatsApp and other channel helps you in that case. Now, for example, if you go to Google and search particularly Libas store, right? So once you click on that, system will trigger automatically message to you. They will show you the recommendations based on your past history, your size. The one agent bot would talk to you, right? And that is totally personalized. That is totally personalized. So if we are giving personalized experience to our consumers, definitely now I am searching black, right? So the system will show you the black only, the best one. If you talk, if you type, then based on that only, system will react accordingly.
I think
Now,
it's also sorry.
one more. So this is the first level. Second level, 5 minutes gone, you would get a call from a CRM team. That is the definition of AI assisted, and human led.
I think it's also got a little bit to do with the source of shopping. I mean, if you choose to go and shop online, then there is efficiencies of AI which will help you close that entire transaction. However, if you choose to go to a store, AI becomes assisted because that's where your more relevant touch point comes to play. For paucity of time, I'm going to pick up the last question, and then if we have time, we'll have you make that statement.
Checked. Audible, right? Yes. Hey, thanks, guys. My name is Himanshu Sharma. I take care of the enterprise business for DevRep. We are one of the sponsors here. But thanks, guys. Interesting chat about hyper-personalization, right? Now, in this era of hyper-personalization, just wanted to understand the nuances more so from you guys, right? You are talking about reaching out to the customer better in a more personalized way, right? But how do you understand, let's suppose if you put an AI on top of it, how do you understand the customer full history or life cycle, right? Because customer's journey sits across multiple data points, right? It sits across product features, it sits across support tickets, it sits across integration things, it sits across multiple data points which are residing in your data silos probably. So how do you stitch that together and serve the customers better? Because ultimately you want to solve the problem for the customer, and the hyper-personalization will only be more meaningful if you're able to build that context. So how do you go about that?
Nitesh, would you like to pick that up, or either one? I mean,
sure. So I would say that the journey starts from the source. So I will identify what is the source from where this data is getting generated. And so, for example, I'm using Google as my interface to search for example, in this case, Kinstar or something or some other product. Google has an history. Google has my history. Google will be using it as per my requirements, and it can be specific to that segment. And that is how it goes along for all the cases where, for example, I'm using a Flipkart. So whenever I go to electronics and I click on a fridge, for example, it will show me the first preference, a Samsung or a LG, what I have bought earlier, and the brand will be shown up front. So that is the user behavior, and the source is totally one of the pivotal points, I would say, to define what kind of assisted model you are looking out for, and that is how it will pave the way out.
I think CDP is the answer to this question, right? That has the entire journey of your consumer. It identifies the consumer from starting point to end point across all the touch points, maybe Google, maybe Instagram, or maybe the offline stores, customer support unit of the brand. It just stitch everything into one place, and then a layer of intelligence which helps you to do the analytics on it, which could be an AI.
Thank you so much. Sorry, would you like to end with something?
I would tell only one words to your answer. That is CDP platform. I mean, personalization depends on how good CDP platform we have built on. If we don't have the CDP platform, then definitely we even cannot think of about the personalization. So if I am having 100 touch points where customers are interacting us, CDP platform must be recording it. And without that, we cannot do anything. Not even personalization, retention, loyalty, nothing.
So technology enables technology. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. A big round of applause for our panelists, and thank you so much for being patient with us this morning.
And I would like to request you to hold on. So with this, we conclude our panel discussion number 1. Thank you to moderator and the entire group of panelists. It's so wonderful to hear such meaningful conversations happening, as I have always heard that big people create immense amount of beautiful history. So ladies and gentlemen, please once again a big round of applause for such intelligent minds. And now it's time to felicitate you all, and for that, I would like to request Mr. Mithun Kumar, the director and from the sales department, Erection Company, please come ahead, sir. And we will begin with Mr. Anupam Munshi, the Vice President. I request you all to please, the clap should continue. The next name is Mr. Nitesh Ajmera, the General Manager. Sir, you have to hold on to do the entire ceremony. Yeah. Thank you, Nitesh, sir. The next name, Mr. Madhav Sharma, head from Tech and Digital Transformation Libas. The next name is Mr. Ratnesh Srivastav, the head from Global Loyalty Analytics MasterCard. The next is Mr. Padam Prakash, General Manager, Strategic Partnership, Paytm. And last but not the least, Mr. Vikram Berry, the moderator of this entire panelist session and Senior Regional Director from Operation South Asia, Radisson Hotel Group. And now let's come together for a group photograph.